2023 has been a wild one. And I'll tell you that for a fact that 2024 is probably not going to be any more different, maybe even wilder than 2023. I mean, we're coming to the end now. We're at New Year's. And basically what you're seeing, a lot that has been going on. This particular video, we are going to concentrate on one particular subject matter, and that's criminal justice. First of all, I'm not a lawyer. Yeah, I just want to put that on there. Not a lawyer, Judas, or never worked in the law industry itself. But basically, we have been covering these three stories throughout the year. There have been many stories out there, between the situations with crime, with politics, the situation. You can hark back to what's going on with Donald Trump, what's going on with Jan 6, all these situations that are going on. And I think we're coming to a head to whereas we're going to be seeing, I think 2024, we're going to be seeing a lot at the Supreme Court. Because and when you look at these particular cases that we are going to discuss, one of them, kind of violates the Constitution. And we've seen this in certain court cases. I mean, we've seen the press being sent to jail, basically for doing their job. And then we have people who voiced their opinion being found guilty, and technically, they didn't get their day in court. People say, well, they were there. No, they didn't get their day in court. You have stuff like Alex Jones. People don't realize that Alex Jones did not get his day in court, whether you like the guy or not. And then we're hearing now the way Attorney General Letitia James is talking right now. Looks like Donald Trump ain't getting his day in court either.
Before this trial even began, the judge ruled in our favor and found that Donald Trump did engage in years of significant financial fraud we uncovered.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Before this trial even began, the judge ruled in our favor and found...
Yes, it doesn't matter whether you like him or not. Listen to these words. And it's part of the basis of our country, and it's very important. It makes us different from most of the world. Innocent until proven guilty. And I'll repeat it one more time. Innocent until proven guilty. That's why when you see the statuette out front of the courthouses, is that, she's blind for a reason. Because basically, when it comes down to these cases, it has to be adjudicated properly within the law. The judges can't, they can't be biased to the situation. And we've been seeing this lately. And the thing about it is, it's because, and all you got to do is look at what's going on at Yale, what's going on at Harvard, the way the presidents talk. The presidents of these prestige universities are talking at Senate subcommittee hearings. You hear these situations, and some of it's very racist to the point. One dropped out already, and then you're hearing lawsuits to the point. And we'll mention one little lawsuit that Yale is going through right now as well. That basically they violated someone's constitutional right. How does that happen? How does that happen in this country? It's because basically the radicals have seeped into the lot. And, you can't have that happen. Not in our constitutional republic. Again, innocent until proven guilty. The prosecution has to prove the guilt of the person that is on trial by, this is something that's always been happening. But now what you have is you got certain cases that the judge has already made up his mind before we have even gotten to the beginning of the trial. You walk in that door, the judge already saying, hey, you're guilty. You can't do that. That's not right. And you know, this is why, you know, you get people upset out there that they, you know, that people are getting away with crimes that, you know, some of these people should be arrested. Listen, you have a constitutional right of freedom of speech. You don't like something, fine. And like I said again, if you don't like Alex Jones, you don't like Donald Trump, if you don't like Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool, or any other person, you know, you want to throw in there. You know, if you don't like Eric July, if you're not, that's fine. That's okay, as long as you don't violate the constitutional rights. And you know, you hear this on a constant basis that there are things that people are doing that basically, you know, they're going off and you've heard this on a couple of occasions that, you know, banks have closed certain people's accounts. Yeah, that's right. Some people have lost their accounts. Now, why is that? Why is that? Because of the job they held, the political affiliation that they might have, or a political view? That is a violation of constitutional rights. Also, people don't realize that. They said, "Oh, it's our own business, and we're doing it to protect." No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But let's start off here. Let's start off with the first one of the that we have been covering. Ron Jeremy. If you're not familiar with Ron Jeremy, he is an adult porn star. Yes, that's right. He is an adult star. And let's take it from this little news clip of what was going on this past year with Ron Jeremy. Well, was going on for quite some time.
Well, the San Fernando Valley, West Hollywood, Los Angeles, some of the locations where the alleged attack took place. We're talking about attacks that may go back as far as 25 years, Alex and Marla. Let's show you some videotape. These are the most recent images of Ron Jeremy, now 68 years old, born Ron Jeremy Hyatt in Queens, New York. He has been in custody for more than a year, has been in custody in court with masks on, with shields on during, of course, the COVID crisis. He was originally arrested back in 2020 on 4 counts of various sexual assaults. But after presenting the case to a grand jury, today the district attorney made a major announcement. Ron Jeremy has been indicted on 33 counts, among them rape and other sexual assault charges. One of the victims as young as 15 years old. And as I mentioned, these cases go back to the 1990s.
Other top stories that we're following tonight, an LA judge ruled today that porn star Ron Jeremy is not mentally competent to stand trial on rape and other charges involving 21 alleged victims. Jeremy has already pleaded not guilty to a dozen counts of rape, sexual battery, sodomy, and lewd acts.
Yeah, multiple sexual allegations. That's right, multiple sexual allegations. Were they true? I don't know. I haven't seen the evidence. I haven't spoken to any of the women that are involved in it. I do have questions on some of them. Just seeing from certain explanations. Because basically, you know, there are those out there, and listen, it happens, and we've seen this, where there are women out there that have accused men of sexual allegations, and they have been false. It's been false. I mean, this goes all the way back to the 1980s with Tawana Brawley. If you're not familiar with Tawana Brawley, then this is where Al Sharpton got into the news media, was about a girl who claimed that she was sexually assaulted by several white men. And what it turned out to be was that it was false. And the whole protest and insanity and all that caused someone to die, someone to commit suicide. To this day, I think Tawana Brawley is still paying off the, because she was sued back on there and she owed to the court. You know, when, you know, did Al Sharpton help her? No. She moved on with her life. You know, I think she became a nurse to the point on there. But in the case, like I said, innocent until proven guilty. With Ron, you had this whole situation on there. One case was the underage one. What was she doing at a party, an adult party? That's, I question that. Why was she there? Was she there by choice? Was she there forced there? We don't know. We just don't know. That hasn't come out. But in the latter end of the situation, you had Ron's mental capacity was weaning. He was diagnosed with dementia, and a lot of his friends said, yeah, his mind was going for a couple of years now, and you could see it from interviews and from when he's talking, where he's signing. He can't even remember how to sign his signature. And this is before the allegations, and you look into the perspective that the district attorney rushed this into trial, even though he saw that there was something there. Hey, listen, I'm not accusing him of any wrongdoing, but the thing about it is, he may have not done due diligence if he seemed to be off a bit. I would have done a psycho evaluation, a medical evaluation at that point if it was me. And what we found out is, after a time period, Ron's mind was going and going, and it's pretty much gone at this point. So what has happened in the end is that basically the judge decided that he's not fit to stand trial, and basically nobody's going to get their day in court. People says, well, nobody is getting their day in court. Remember, innocent until proven guilty. Ron needed to get his day in court. Remember, these are accusations on one end. Yes, the lady, if this was true, yes, the ladies did not get their day in court. Nobody got their day in court. That's the important takeaway from this. Nobody got their day in court. And unless something has changed within the time of this recording, Ron was supposed to go to a hospice, but what we're finding out is because of his declining health, he is now sent to a private residence because basically there's nothing more the medical field can do for him. He's to the point where he's bedridden. His mind is going. It's just sort of just now. It's when it's to the point where I think that's their thought in their minds. The people that have been around this case is how much time in this world Ron Jeremy has, where he goes to. Some people say, well, he goes to his final judgment. If you believe in a God. But like I said, this is something that goes on constantly. We've seen in the last couple of years because we had this Me Too movement, this push on there. There are some nefarious men out there and women. Remember, this is both ends of the scale that have done some very nefarious things, sexual allegations, that some of them deserve to go to jail. Yeah, that's right. They do deserve to go to jail on some of these. But they have to be found guilty overall. If they're not found guilty, they basically, there's nothing else you can do. It's up to the prosecution to prove their guilt. That's the job of the prosecution. It's not charge of the defendant. It's the prosecution has to choose the guilt of the defendant on there. It's similar to what happened at Yale University. And Nate the lawyer, check out his video on there about this whole concern. He does a great breakdown of this, and I'll tell you this, and I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown, a little bit of a quick view on this. This is about a student at Yale University who was dating this particular girl, this other student, and they had sex, and then she turned around and said it wasn't consensual. And he was charged, Basically, a jury with the evidence that was given found him not guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. They found him not guilty. But what Yale did was and you remember, Yale has a law school. They pulled up their own kangaroo court, and I call it a kangaroo for this reason. They didn't allow the student to be there. Number one, they didn't allow his lawyers to be there. They didn't allow people his side of the story to be told. They only allowed the girl to tell her story, and they found him guilty and kicked him off campus. Now he's turned around and gone to court, and a court has agreed with him that Yale should be liable for $100 million. They're going to be going to trial with this whole situation, that they violated his rights. Like I said, this is what's been happening. Next time when you read a story of sexual allegation, sexual abuse, the situation, take that moment before you make that decision and say, what is the evidence first? Hey, the guy could be a rat out bastard, but did he do it? That's the question you have. Or did she do it? Is the question. See, this is the reason why there are those out there that have been truly sexually abused, that they don't come forward, because they are afraid to go to court on this, and this is the reason why. These men, women that have done allegations just to benefit themselves financially or to get revenge on somebody, this hurts the people the men and women that are truly abused, even children, and they're afraid to come to court. It's shame on them. Shame on them for doing that, because there's plenty of them out there. But like I said, this particular story still technically doesn't have an ending to it, and we don't know when that will be. That is something that will be will it be at the end of this year, at the moment of the change of the year? Will it be into the beginning of the year, middle? We don't know. So we'll stay tuned on that and continue to bring you any updates on this particular story. So let's switch gears over to the WWE. Now, one thing in the wrestling organization, whether it's the WWE, WCW, ECW, World Class Championship Wrestling, and many different organizations throughout the decades of the life of wrestling, there have been many tragedies. I mean, you've heard the stories, you've seen some of these documentary shows that Dark Side of the Ring, many others that have told stories of what happened to certain wrestlers. This year, Hollywood released a movie which has gotten some of the critics saying it's a great performance by Zac Efron. The Iron Claw. If you haven't gone seen this, don't Google up the characters for the movie, the Von Erichs. Go see it yourself. It is I will warn you that it is a tragic movie. There is a tragedy in this. They call it the Von Erich curse, and supposedly the performances are top notch. Even from other characters in the movie. Supposedly they said the Ric Flair character, the actor who's playing Ric Flair, does an excellent job in that situation. But like I said, these are tragedies that you hear about that are put on the main screen. There was that movie years ago, The Wrestler. That's pretty much a lot of wrestlers these days. And there was one particular trial that we were covering, and one part of it has come to its finale. If you know Tammy Lynn Stitch, aka Sunny, who was one of the gorgeous ladies of in the WWE. If you grew up in that era, but what happened to Tammy, or aka Sunny, basically she fell from grace. I mean, she's a Hall of Famer. I don't know if they're going to keep her in the Hall of Fame. There have been wrestlers that have been removed from the Hall of Fame. On that, she was her boyfriend was Chris Candido, who also had a bit of a tragic end to his life. Right now, if you haven't gotten it, let's go into it via clips of what had happened.
Her WWE star is finding out late today that she will spend more than a decade behind bars. Tammy Sitch was sentenced following a crash last year that killed a 75-year-old man from Daytona Beach.
At the time of the crash, police said her blood alcohol content was 3.5 times the legal limit. News 6's Molly Reed was in the courtroom.
Tamara Sitch is now heading to prison for the next 17.5 years, followed by 8 years of probation. Now, she spoke in court here today apologizing to that family, but the family of the victim tells me that nothing that happened today will fix or ever make them feel better about what happened.
Yeah, that's right. And this is not the only case. I think there's still 2 other cases. I think one's in Jersey. I think the other one's in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. Those didn't end up to be like this. But like I said, Tammy Sunny is going to spend 17 years in jail for the death of an elderly gentleman because she was DUI, no license, DUI, and not the first time that she has been arrested for this. Like I said, the Pennsylvania and Jersey ones, I believe, also are similar. The only difference is that basically that there were no deaths involved to her situation. These were pullovers, that she was driving erratically. And I think there's one where she was drunk and went a little bit wild with a knife, I think it was. There's so many charges that are against her still. Probably if she gets out of jail after the years that she'll have to do in Florida, she's probably going to have to face that also if they don't do it while she's in jail. I'm surprised she didn't get the death penalty on that one. I'm really shocked because it's Florida. I used to live there. Good old Sparky. If you don't know the story of good old Sparky, that's the electric chair. They call it the electric chair. The reason they call it the electric chair because one time during one execution it sparked up, so it gave that nickname Old Sparky. Yeah, it's surprising that she didn't get on there. This is a girl that's gone through drugs, alcohol. She was in porn. She did porn, at one point. She doesn't look that great anymore. You look at the original pictures of her. She was hot. She was beautiful, and she just let herself go. And this is what happens in the wrestling industry, especially the WWE. The WWE will chew you out and spit you out. Even though they did help her on occasion on there, but I don't think the WWE helped enough. I don't think Vince helped enough to their wrestlers because you hear a lot of the stories out there. One of the Hardy Boys is still contending a DUI as well. You had situations, we can go numerous, from murders to deaths to suicide. You could go to Miss Elizabeth, the tragic story of Miss Elizabeth, and many others that it has gone through the ringer on here. And take a moment, go check out Dark Side of the Ring. And they're in their 4th season right now. There's so many stories, and some of them are still ongoing. The Flight from Hell, there are some people that want to bring back charges against Ric Flair, Vince McMahon, to what happened on that ill-fated flight. That was a nightmare. That plane could have crashed. You know, when you have that many drunk wrestlers aboard a plane, and the sexual allegations that happen and the payoffs that happen afterward. You know, this is what got Ric Flair banished from the WWE, really. You know, when it was rehashed on that documentary. Yeah, I mean, it is tragedy on a constant basis level. I mean, just Google any wrestler and look at their background. You may find something tragic about it. You know, so in a way, we could say this is case closed for now, and we'll see what happens with the other allegations, which she hasn't gone through. And like I said, innocent until proven guilty to the situation. But you know, this is a girl that just basically she's been in trouble. You know, she I guess she looks for trouble. You know, she must be to the point where she's depressed to the situation. She pleaded no contest to the manslaughter charges. I mean, she had an unsealed bottle of vodka in her car and cannabis in her system at the time. And this happened in 22. I mean, she was looking up to 25 years. The judge had given her 17. So once again, case closed on this one. And let's move on to the final case we've been covering on here. And this is still ongoing. And this is going to be the one, you know, that's got to get covered by mainstream. Because basically, the only reason is that she haven't, because she's a porn star. If you're not familiar with Melinda Smith, her professional name is Mercedes Carrera. She is a beautiful porn star that has been around for quite some time. Yeah, she was a commentator on Gamergate and a couple of other things to the point. But that doesn't matter what her beliefs in and out of Gamergate is. You know, totally about what herself and this particular case. Well, let's look into this via the mainstream media.
Well, in court today, the couple pled not guilty to 8 counts of sexual acts with a child under the age of 10. And this was all for crimes that allegedly occurred right here inside their Rancho Cucamonga apartment over a period of about 4 months. We want to get straight to that booking photo right now because detectives want you to take a good look at these two people. This is 35-year-old Melinda Smith and 43-year-old Jason Whitney. But detectives tell us they're well known in the adult film world as Mercedes Carrera and Damon Sins. They're an actress and a director, detectives say, in pornographic movies. Police want their pictures out there in the public because they believe they could have been sexually abusing other children as well. Detectives say that about a week ago, that little girl's family contacted them saying the couple had sexually abused her. When they went into the apartment here, they say the bedroom was set up like a pornographic film set, and that among the lights and the cameras, they found a large amount of evidence that substantiated that little girl's story. At this point, they're not certain whether or not that victim could have been filmed as well. But detectives also say they found meth and 2 loaded handguns in the home. We spoke with Detective Donald Patton about the bravery it took that little girl to come forward.
It's very hard when you have a child of that age to come forward and reveal any type of sexual assault or physical abuse to themselves, because oftentimes children will hold it in because they're scared themselves and they think it's their fault that they were sexually assaulted.
Yeah, she was accused of sexual assault of her child and stuff like that. But here's the thing the media didn't tell you. She is in the middle of a custody fight with her ex. And basically, he's been doing everything in a way to try to get his daughter back to him. And there's a possibility, it's a slight possibility, we don't have the proof of it yet, but she's saying this is what it's looking like because the way this has been handled is that this could be a way of gaining custody of the child by claiming sexual abuse. I mean, we've heard this before, and we've seen this on numerous crime shows like Law and Order and CSI and stuff like that, that basically, you know, you get false allegations. Now, remember, innocent until proven guilty. Now, in this case, this is where it gets weird. we are going into year 5 with this case. And you may ask yourself, what the hell is going on? And many of you out there, you viewers out there, you have commented on this. This is one of the biggest comment lines that I've had in the entire channel on CutyCast TV and Man with the Show, is about the Mercedes Carrera situation. Now understand, and we've gotten jailhouse interviews with her because she's done a podcast, and we're going over a lot of interviews that she's done from the jailhouse. There's like a podcast, there's several of them. And basically, she believes that there's a lot of overreach by the courts, by the police department. And you'll see it on the screen right here. This is the actual, from her side, this is the actual warrant that was given out. That basically this was produced, and it wasn't really signed by a judge. It has no warrant number. If you go to look this up at the courthouse, which we do have, let's put it this way, let's play this video, this audio portion from someone who actually went to the courthouse to get this looked up.
After the sheriff, whoever filed it, the police officer filed it, they didn't register luggage with us.
So they didn't register the...
We are not sure. We can't find it in our log.
How many, did you go back a specific amount of days from the filing date?
30.
30 days?
I did the month before and the month after.
Okay, nothing came up?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's what was questionable, that it wasn't signed or sealed by normally how it's stamped by the court.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
No problem.
As you could see, it wasn't, that doesn't exist. So why is she in jail? Why is there a $2 million bond on her and her husband on here? Why hasn't it been reduced? Now, according to what she says, even if she paid it off, if she had the money to pay this off, she's been threatened that to the point where they will find other charges to keep her there. Right now, she's in a jail where basically they've violated from 4 to 8 as far as the Constitution, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 8th amendments of the Constitution, especially the 6th and the 8th. Because right now they have her in a cell that she says supposedly the conditions are awful. And they're doing it, according to her, they're doing it purposely. She's had COVID several times. Her blood is to the point where, she can get very, very ill because of it. She like I said, she's gone through COVID 5 times. This is her own words.
I have an update. I had someone go to the courthouse and do the work for me. I'm very, very, very grateful. And it turns out they did a deep search, looked for my name and address for search warrant, arrest warrant, 30 days pre and post my arrest date. Didn't find anything. Nothing was properly processed around those dates. Nothing.
So you shouldn't be in jail at all because legally speaking, you haven't been arrested.
I wanted to talk about procedure. Everything's procedure in law. And the reason I brought up not having they didn't have the search warrants and they didn't have an arrest warrant on me, and really wanted to mention it, is that the way they arrested me was really weird because I went downstairs to pick up my daughter. I get a text message the day I was arrested. I get a text message from my ex saying, "Hey, I'm here, with my daughter, come outside to pick her up." Now, I lived in a gated apartment complex. I had a place there. So I walk outside, I walk downstairs, and then I walk out the front gate that kind of auto locks when you walk outside of it.
Right.
So I walk out the front and I look for him with her and I don't see him. So I'm kind of standing there. I have my phone, I have my keys, and I see a bunch of unmarked white cars. I don't know, what they were. They're like Ford fusions or something. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. And then all of a sudden, this black woman walks up to me, grabs my phone out of my hand, grabs my keys out of my hand, grabs me, physically grabs me, and says, Melinda Smith? And I'm like, yes, and puts cuffs on me. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And
you hear what she's saying. This is the things that are going on. And these the trial keeps getting pushed back. She's already gone through several court-appointed lawyers. This is not her own personal lawyers. She can't afford it. These are court-appointed lawyers. And the way things are going, and this is the reason why a lot of the times the court doesn't want to process this through. Why? Because, they just want to keep her in jail to the point where she will give up and basically plead guilty or no contest to the situation, and they will finalize it. They keep pushing it back. They're saying, well, it's the holidays. We can't have it. Like she mentioned, it's the holidays. Let's push it to next year. And they say, no, it's not good now. Let's push it a little bit further. And, here, like I said, this is a civil rights violations. What is going on in California? This is what has happened. And this has happened throughout the country. There have been courts that have been violating the civil rights. We mentioned Alex Jones before. We mentioned Donald Trump. We mentioned there were several reporters. Owen Schroeder, I believe is his name. He was with the press on there, that he had to spend time in jail, that right now he's going to the Supreme Court onto this situation, that he was a reporter at Jan 6 and he was arrested and found guilty. And he's not the only reporter. There's another reporter right now that they're coming after that covered this. They want him arrested and put into jail. Why? Why are they going after these people? This is what has been going on. Doesn't matter whether you're on the left or you're on the right. Both sides, if you're either side on it, you should be upset. You should be angry because, let's reverse back to the movie, and we've mentioned this movie before, The Reversal of Fortune, the Jeremy Irons movie about Klaus von Bülow. Many people believe that Klaus von Bülow was an SOB. This guy was, dark. He was, a really bad guy. And what happened to his wife, Sunny, was tragic. Was he to blame for it? A lot of people said, yeah, he's to blame for it. But what was done to this case? The family, because of their wealth, went out, got their own prosecutor, their own investigators, gathered their own evidence, took whatever evidence they felt that they wanted to be put toward the trial and gave it to the district attorney. That's a violation. That is a real major violation on there. And you may say to yourself, well, why? Why? Innocent until proven guilty. Even if you believe he did it or not, the way that this trial went was not right. It was not right at all. And the thing about it is, it sets precedents. You always hear that term. It sets precedents. Because today it could be, and like was said in the movie, today it could be someone as rich as Von Bülow. Tomorrow it could be some schnook in Jersey who owns a small store that doesn't have the finance or the ability to defend himself properly, and he ends up in jail for something he didn't do. And this is the situation that we're seeing here with Melinda Smith, or Mercedes, if you want to call her Mercedes, correct. This is what it is. They're using the porn industry as a crutch to the whole situation, a red herring. And this is what we've talked about, and we're going to talk about it on another video about age verification and all that. But this is what I keep telling you. They use your job, what you do, because they don't approve of what you do, to chastise you, to put you in jail and all that. That's not what our forefathers put into the Constitution. You know, innocent until proven guilty. You don't do these things. You don't like the person, that's fine. That's your opinion. But you don't get them jailed. You don't get their finances completely wiped out, like they've been doing to several people on there. You know, they want to say, well, we'll wipe them out, make them poor, and they'll go away. That's not how things go. We have a First Amendment, and we have several other amendments that protect us from that, especially freedom of speech. When people say, well, porn is not a freedom of speech issue. Yeah, it is. It is these days because of what has been happening, what has been out there, and what people have been attacked. You know, we see people out there like Morality and Media, many other organizations, Sound Investigations, that are trying to push this agenda, and they're using YouTubers to push their agenda further. I'm not going to sit there and chastise this particular YouTuber that, let them do the work themselves. Not my job to chastise them, says that they're wrong situation. They have their opinion from what they've seen, and that's the one thing, here in YouTube. There are people like the Young Turks I don't like, but hey, listen, there is a space for the Young Turks. There is a space for a lot of these people, and that's the thing about this. In my public access days, there are people I didn't agree with, obviously, but I never wanted them off the air. I never sat there and says they need to be off the air and stuff like that, even though there were those people out there that tried to. Even in an organization like Warner, back then it was Time Warner, wanted certain people off the air. Or they wanted to penalize and do a sort of age verification, and we're going to go through it in that other video, that they want people to sign off on paper, on cards saying that, okay, I'm okay with their programming, and I'll sign my name and stuff like that. Why do I have to give my name? You see what I'm talking about? You see what they want to do? They want to change laws that basically obscenity. They want to chastise people. If you don't agree with their politics, they want to erase you. This is Orwell, 1984. This is Equilibrium. This is, many other books throughout the decades, that describe these dystopias that's on there. See, the difference is that we still have a constitution. When someone tells you that something is really, that we need to purge it, we need to remove laws so we can protect the people, that's when you should worry. Because it's going on now. There are new law. There's a new addition to a law that will continue surveillance on you. Think about that for a minute. That's going to continue the surveillance on you. That's going on now. It's similar to the Patriot Act. We're going to cover that in the new year. So tell me in the comments below your thoughts on all these stories. This is an end of the year wrap up to the situation, and we're going into 2024. Mercedes Carrera will be a continuation into 2024. We'll keep an eye on Ron Jeremy, and of course Tammy Sunny Stitch. We'll keep an eye on those, and there are many other cases that'll come across our plate. So have yourself Happy New Year. Enjoy yourself. Be sure to be with family, friends. Don't stay alone. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next year in review. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel, as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are two ways listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.